Hi guys, Maria here from Green Planet Cosmetics. Welcome back to part 2 of how I founded my online shop on Amazon from scratch. So if you missed out last week's episode, I'm going to link it below. I talk about how I just started from scratch, like literally my very first steps from the idea to my very first listing on Amazon. And everything that happened along the way. So if you watched it, you know shit hit the fan and I couldn't use any of my previous batch of product because it came down to a production error in the bottle itself and it was leaking, and I had to get every single unit back to me and start literally from scratch again. But only this time I was out of money. So yeah, well, what can I do? I didn't have a plan B, there was only plan A, and I wanted to really achieve it, and I was so close. I could taste it already, and I was like, no, I'm totally gonna start again. And now I have more knowledge, and I will apply that, and I will be smarter than the last time. So what I did, I obviously, I needed to make some money first, so I went back into my old industry, took a few jobs, made some money, just wanted to make sure to get as much money in the shortest period of time possible, and then save everything and just reinvest into my new production batch, so to speak. So yes, I had to go out there again, source again, have just check the samples, get that in, test them very thoroughly. So I would test them, but also as soon as I had people, friends, family members flying somewhere, I was like, hey, can you please take it and just test it on airplanes as well? Because as we realized, the pump bottle I had earlier on was having trouble on airplanes, and that was also what was causing the leaking. So it was like, okay, next time I'm going to go for pipettes, and that's it, make my life easier. So I did find a great supplier, but then obviously it's a different size, so I needed a different packaging as well. I also needed new labels because the old label wouldn't go in the new bottle. It's just what it is. So back to the design board, but we decided for great labels. I'm still using them, I love them. So and while that was, in progress, I also had to do other things. And what really was annoying about that, like if you found in Germany, it's very tricky. So you cannot just say, hey, you know what, let's start making some money. No, so you actually have to pay before you start making money. And then obviously if you are on a budget, then that's very tough. So what happened when I founded the business, and you have to do so first because you need all the tax numbers, AOV numbers, for getting your products for the import-export situation, you need different tax numbers so it can be released from the customs, etc. So I needed that, and that took some time. I decided to start as a sole trader, and that is just, I wanted to have a company, like a limited company, let's say in London, but that didn't happen because in Germany it costs like 25k to start a company. Again, but it's a different story for a different video. It's just, you need to have some money to get started. I didn't have that. Again, I started with like 5k, which is crazy. Thinking about it now is just insane. And so what they do is, okay, you have to apply and process the entire paperwork, and then they ask you like, hey, how much money are you going to make the first year? And I'm like, what do you mean? I don't know. It's the first time, I'm founding a business here in Germany. I don't know. It's a new thing. I've never done it before. I don't know how much money I'm going to make. But you have to come up, you have to rub your little Zauberkugel and just come up with a number. And I was like, what is that now? The problem here is, so I, started very small because I knew that based on that number, you have to pay your tax sometimes in advance. So especially if you make a lot of money, they want to make sure they're not missing out on a little penny. So you have to pay that money up in advance. And then a year later, when you do your tax return, you can claim it back. But then obviously all the cash flow you have, and if you don't have much like me, is missing. So you are struggling to get, from point A to point B. So to even make it through the year until you can claim it back. So you need your cash flow now, So that's a funny situation, but that's unfortunately just what it is. So I talked to them and I said, listen, if you take my money now, I cannot start. Like I have so little and I'm trying to make it work, and I'm being honest here saying, hey, please let me pay tax here. It should be the easiest thing actually. But yeah, so that happened. And then also based on whatever number you put into that field, you will get an insurance, like a health insurance. So in Germany, you are not allowed to choose, hey, I want one, or no, you know what, I'm good, I don't need one, or whatever. Let's say London, for instance, where I founded 10 years earlier, a limited company. So that was different there. I was just covered by the, basic health insurance everyone has. And that's just very basic. But then you can choose, hey, I want a private one as well, or I don't. And I quite like that, especially when you're young and healthy, It's just, I needed my money for other stuff. So in Germany, I could not choose whether I want one or not. So you have to take one German. It couldn't even be a foreign insurance, because now I'm having a French one I'm quite happy with, which costs like a third of the one in Germany and is even better. So, they really force you to take a German insurance, which is, again, for me, not even good. So I'm like, okay, and the more you make, the more money you make, the more you pay to your insurance company as well. So it's always based on how much you make. And so you pay that every month. So now, because, the first launch didn't go great, it was a fuck up actually. Yeah, I obviously had to wait for the next batch to arrive. And in the meantime, I couldn't sell any products, but I still had to pay, these amounts of money to all the different bureaus, because that's what it is. And I did have some money set aside for exactly that, because I knew in advance, I knew that's gonna happen. I just didn't know that I couldn't sell for another 7 or 8 months. So yeah, that was a bit rough. That was really tough, and yeah, it's not great. So if you are founding a company in Germany and it's your first time and it might go wrong, make sure to have a little bit of money aside for that case, because even if you don't make any money, you are still, you still have to pay the money based on the number you put into that paper. And a year later, then you can say, hey, listen, I only make that money, can you please, not downgrade me in my insurance or whatnot. But other than that, it's just not. So yeah, just that so it was all a little bit tight and like, no money, okay? So what I did do was, because the other bottles, I still had the old bottles left, I couldn't sell online at least, because we figured out it was always a problem with, being on an airplane and such. So what I did do, in the meantime, to at least, have some progress, I approached retail shops, and I also started selling on markets, which was very nice. Very, very small. Like I don't even know, did I have 3 products already? I'm not even sure. Like I started from one and then worked my way up. And yeah, that was very interesting, and it was a lot of fun. But I also learned a lot from that, because also like retail shops, and as much as I wanted to collaborate with them, because those shops, I love them. This is what makes the city, so interesting and vibrant and cozy, and I love these places, and it was so cool to see my products there as well. But obviously they are not like big brands, selling hundreds every day or every month. So the effort I put into it to supply the smaller retail shops was actually too big for me. I was not, literally I wouldn't make any money on it. I was actually like, sometimes even lose money. If you compare the time to the return of investment, it was like, okay. But it was good to see that the retail shops are not really my target audience anymore, which is a shame, but it just didn't work out for me. And that was also a good learning curve. Once I got the sample bottles, I ordered, and I had everything ready. I had the labels and everything looked really beautiful. I then started taking photos. That's also what I recommend you. So if you are ordering like products in samples, for instance, and I would always make sure to order a few more, because if you like them and if you have them produced, it's good to already have a few products. You can then photograph and just start working with them, and also like advertise them on social media, etc. So yeah, that's what we did. And again, I had no budget for any professional studio and photographer and what. So we got really, really creative. I mean, okay, just an example. Now, a friend of a friend ended up taking the photos, because he was the only one having a professional camera. But none of us had a studio or professional lighting or anything. So what we did was literally, So he was working in a hospital and he had this white jacket. So we were just taking a chair and then you wrap that white jacket on top of it, and then he came with like a white shiny board. It's like, here, that's what I found, let's just try that and put it on top. And this is literally how we ended up taking the first pictures for the Amazon shop, because it had to have a white background. I was like, okay, with a flashlight, you guys, I mean, wow. But you know, it's just what it is. So I really urge you to, even if it's not perfect, and I mean, I always try to get it just right. But then in the end, you know, nothing really is perfect, and you can always try your best. But it's just, you know, if you wait for the perfect, I don't know, outcome, it might be too late, you know, that might never come. So yeah, even if it's not perfect, even if it's not the most professional, you know, do it, get it done. It's just the very first step. And then when you have money, you just reshoot, and that's fine, you know, just get going, like start. You have to start somewhere. And that's what I did. So, you know, pictures were taken. And also, like, for the rest of the pictures, we would just go outside, literally use the sun and the natural light, and then take pictures. And I also wanted it to be natural. Like, I don't like these to death photoshopped pictures. So, you know, you just do what you gotta do, and you know, you use what you have. So I finally, in June and July, I started selling on Amazon. So yeah, that's like 8 or 9 months later than expected. Oh boy, what a ride, but I was so excited to finally make it happen. I also, in the meantime, started my own web shop as well, because I had time. You know, I didn't want to in the beginning, because Amazon just seemed a bit easier and, you know, just easy access, because you can start right away. You don't need to sell 7,000-8,000 units the first year, or what, you know. With the DHL team I talked, and the fulfillment center with them, but you know, they would only start from 7,500 units a year. And I mean, let's face it, yeah, we all want that, but it's just, if you're alone and, you know, it's just you in your team, it's probably not happening. Like, I don't know, maybe it is, but for me it wasn't. So I was like, okay, I cannot do that, so I just do Amazon instead. And then Amazon has all the customers already, so you already have people who are searching for products. I just need to, you know, deliver to them and say, hey, here's my offer, do you like it? Another great thing about Amazon, I will go deeper into that in one of the next episodes, where I compare it to Etsy, the, you know, your own online shop, and then Amazon. But what I really liked was the FBA fulfillment center, because, as I said, if you are alone, there's only so much you can do every day. So I can either, you know, pack orders, or I can prep them, or I can talk to the customers, and, you know, so you always get questions. Hey, DHL said they left the parcel at my secure spot. Where is it? I'm like, I don't know where your spot is. You would have to ask, you know. So it was nice to just have someone else deal with all of that, you know, or just sometimes standing at the post office with all the orders, and just, you know, that is also time you don't have, because there's so many other things you have to do and you have to get done, and it's only you, and you only have 24 hours every day. So yeah, it was definitely worth, for me, you know, going for the Amazon fulfillment center. I must say though, if everything goes accordingly, if these guys struggle, and that happens also, you know, the Amazon warehouse people struggle, then that makes your life very, very hard. But again, I will get into that in one of the next episodes. Okay, the next big one for me was to again use my time I had wisely. You know, while I was waiting for my products to be delivered to me, I made sure to really get into Amazon, to getting to know the entire system, the algorithm, what's important. So, you know, the title is important, the bullet points, but also the description. And I always made sure to, whatever I had available, like back then, now there are more tools available. But back in the day, I was really just, the A+ was a new situation, and the early bird program was also new. But I signed up for all of it, you know, and I just made sure to really like nail my target audience, because I didn't have any advertising budget, like zero, and I knew I'm going to be ranked somewhere. But even, you know, if you get the title good, if the pictures are good, if you do have the first few 5-star reviews, you know, your bullet points are great, it really does a lot already. So I could already see my product being ranked, way higher than, let's say, other people who just launched. And I was like, hey, that's nice. So it's actually, very logic, and you can actually tweak around a little, and, you will get to your outcome. And this is what I recommend to everyone who wants to start or sell products, especially, to always ask your target group what they want. So ask them, what do you need? What do you want? What do you like about your favorite product? What don't you like about your favorite product? I also, obviously, checked out my competitors and also looked at the reviews, and not the one that's awesome, because I love my products too, so I am my target audience, I know what I love about it, but then what can go wrong? What can happen? And that's very interesting. So I always also looked at the negative reviews, and you get a lot of insight from that too, which is important. It hurts sometimes to see, people ranting about your products. You create it with so much passion in your heart, but see it as a way, hey, if I get that right, I can create this perfect product to really deliver the people what they want. And that's how I always see it. But that definitely helps a lot. And then, I started again. It took a while, let's face it. So with no advertising, I was just surprised to get any orders in the beginning, really. So slowly but surely, I was so excited to have 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 10, sold. I was like, oh my God. And then someday I'm gonna have at least, 30 a month. Can you believe it? Yeah, and then very soon after I was selling 30, 40 a day. And that was pretty big for me, And also if you look into it, this is one of the most competitive industry, and competing with these guys, and just starting out with almost zero money, I thought, wow, it's insane. And it took a while, yes. Yeah, but what people say, I know we all want to believe the lies, hey, be rich overnight, make money on the beach. Yeah, that sounds just so fantastic. But it's possible. It's not always this, easy breeze, no. And what you guys don't know, I just, again, it was just picking up, it was happening, oh my God, it's actually happening. And I started from watching YouTube videos. Crazy. And a few months later, COVID hit. Yes. Bummer. So what can I say? It was really not the easiest. COVID, I'm gonna cover COVID the next episode, but yeah, it's crazy. I either made a ton of money, or I was just not making any money at all and losing money. There was nothing in between. It was just insane. It was crazy. And sometimes it was just, I just wanted to cry and just, stop everything. And then sometimes I was like, I cannot believe my life, this is awesome. So we had everything covered. But yeah, more on that a bit later. Again, if you wanna, I don't know, if you have a question, if you want me to get a bit more specific on a special topic, let me know. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.